Now, going to Everly's world, she made some soup. She was tired from a long day's work, the business. She goes upstairs, takes a bite of soup. It was carrot soup. She sits on her bed, but in the process of sitting down, she didn't see there was something there near the ground, and she slipped, and her spoon flew on the side of the bed. So when she got her balance, put her bowl on the nightstand, she went on the side of the bed to pick up the spoon, and she saw a page of a book, handwritten. It was Donnie's book, the book of his life, the things that are most important that happened. Well, on that page was the very page of her, and how he wanted her in that pond that they walked at, that lovely place. He hoped that he would meet her again someday. He had all the description of her, and he wanted to put in that someday he was going to be on the lookout for her with these descriptions, which the Doves didn't want anybody to find out, because they wanted Donnie for themselves, because they loved Donnie, didn't want him to leave the business. Well, she was thrilled when she saw that paper, but sad at the same time, knowing she didn't know whenever she would see Donnie, if it would be soon or not. But she had hopes, and she prayed that someday Donnie and her would reunite. Well, the next day, Donnie and the Amish man were traveling still, because it took a while to travel, because it was evening by the time he was with the Amish person, so they just stayed in at the Amish man's place until the morning. The Amish guy said, "Let's just stay at my place and I'll take you there in the morning," because he knew his business was good. He could trust the man to stay with him. Well, Everly, she would whistle and talk to the birds, and in the morning before the business started, she had to wash some clothes. She then hung the clothes up. She was praising the Lord. The desire for Dawn didn't go away. It was even stronger at this very moment. She started to sing. The doves want you, dear, but I want you more. Won't you come, Donnie dear, for me? Oh dear, Donnie dear, the one who loves doves. I'm your dear little dove, waiting for you, Donnie. I love you, Donnie, I do. Donnie, come to me, come to me. And as she was hanging, the second to last item up, it was one of her shirts she was hanging up. Well, she saw a carriage, the Amish man. Well, she saw it was done right away. This dream that she's waited for, it started to come true. He jumped out of the horse and buggy and ran to Everly, Angeline, and swung her around, put her in the air, and said, "I've waited for you. I've looked far and wide, and here you are at my place waiting for me. How ironic. Thank you for waiting for me for 20 plus years. And she said the same thing. Thank you for waiting for me. And they said, I love you. And he said the same. Well, that evening, he made sure to go to his brother's house to stay because now she owned the business. He had to make sure he was with him until they would shortly get married. Well, they had a lovely wedding. The doves held her veil up. It was so peaceful. They had an outdoor wedding because it was a lovely place by the business with the bird baths. The birds were everywhere. It was a lovely field nearby, and a beautiful view, and the mountains weren't far behind. And there was a lovely pond, and there were even swans, nice trellis, and, well, when she was about to say the vows, she took out the page and said, the page that was taken out, me, the page that the birds even tried to take away, our love story. But this will go back in our story, and I will be in your story, and you'll be in mine forever. And I will love you until the end. Well, after the vows, they put the book page in a frame, and they loved the Lord together. The business went so well, and they shared the love of Jesus and the peace through the bird bath, saying, what's so wonderful is it attracts the birds and doves and peace. Don't you want peace? And people would say, yes, we want peace. We're even using these bird baths as a supplement for it, because we know doves resemble peace, or signify it, and there's beauty in the baths, and the seeing the bird take care of itself and flutter its wing, and the dove is a symbol of peace, and people would just long for peace. So it was an opportunity to share about the Prince of Peace. Well, people came to the Lord, and they ended up having house meetings at their place, and it was a wonderful time. Well, their business kept growing. People kept coming to the Lord, and they would be dancing in the house and singing and bringing instruments and praising God, and everything that would have breath would come. Even the pets would come, and the birds, and they would sing a song, a new song unto the Lord, and make a beautiful noise. Well, you wonder how I would end the story. It is not over. It is a story of hope, something that would seem to be lost, a story that the page was taken out, would seem like there is no hope after 20 years to find the love of his or her life. They would reunite. But there is a plan. God is not finished with your story. As long as you're still watching this video, God has something for you. Not necessarily, I'm speaking of a romance, where it very could well be. But God is not finished writing your story, and it's a beautiful story. The pages are continuing to be read and written. Well, Dawn and Everly continue to write in this huge book of their life story and of the wonderful events. God has a story for you. Keep on trusting Him and believing and hoping that your story is not over. God bless you, and may you trust in Him. And while the business, Dove Bath and Beyond continued, we can continue and hope that God's story for us will continue, and it is not the end.